How y'all doing today? It's Jen Hart. I hope you are taking care of yourself because in no matter what time period you're watching this, hopefully you're watching this in a time where there's peace and connection and the good of all mankind is happening. And if it hasn't manifested in your reality yet, um, we can collectively manifest that. But taking care of yourself and not getting roped in to multiple conversations, multiple um, views of bad news. It's unless you actually have active ability to choose something, which is like maybe use the 5 calls app or go to a local politician's office and see what they think, um, or change the laws in your own town, make sure you're in a good place financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, etc. Those are the things you have control over. And accepting that is really hard because we think if we can control the external world, we will be safe. This is absolutely a misnomer. I work with a lot of people with anxiety, complex trauma, you name it. I've had my own complex trauma. External world events, whether they're big or small, whether it's like I use the example of moving because I'll be moving in about a month. My birthday's on Thursday. Yay. Weird. Um, it's not weird that I'm moving and it's not weird that I'm getting older. It's just weird that another cycle of moving again. I've moved over 30 times in my life. I'm getting tired of this. And that's of my own cause, and also like life circumstances. I can't control like other things in the world. I only have power over my own energy I output, energy I input into my own self, and the choices that I make. And sometimes I don't make good choices because of and I could say it's because of my ADD, because ADD or ADHD for those who like to be particular, it doesn't always help me see the future. And sometimes I see the future too much. Depends on how my brain's working. And the greatest thing about me projecting into the future is that it's not always true. Meaning, my worst case scenarios don't always happen. Sometimes they do, but it's rare because I remind myself to change the what I'm focusing on. Remind myself how many times things have gotten to the brink in my own life. I can only speak for my own life because the external world I have zero control over, or minimal. And not that I don't have control over where I shop and who I vote for and the people I care about and like the people I advocate for, especially when I was in social work. Like I have control over those things. But even then, I can't control somebody doing something not kosher, not cool, mean to somebody else. I can stand up for that person. I can protect the person that is being challenged or hurt in some way. But I can't prevent that person from doing the thing other than normal. Like we get training, or we used to get training, like how to kind of de-escalate things. Especially because when I worked in mental health, you have to de-escalate clients sometimes from their own behaviors and or people externally. Because even if you're not a client of mine and you're being irate, you're being loud, you're not thinking clearly because the rational mind and the emotional mind don't really work in tandem. They work separately. And that's why sometimes people who get super emotional are reactive instead of planning. And they're not, I've done it a million times. Like I'm not always cognizant when I'm emotionally dysregulated. That's a great word for everybody of the kids of the class to learn. Is like when you're not solid, grounded in your own emotions and know what they are and can identify and like be present with them and like also like not use them reactionarily. Like use your words, use your thoughts by calming your brain down, calming your body down. And that's hard to do with anxiety, especially now. I can't say this is the most anxiety I've ever had in my entire life. I grew up with anxiety. As a child, I saw things that no one would want to see, not just my own view, but because I was intuitive. So I saw things that I couldn't control at all. So, and somebody might call me wacky for that, but like it's true. And whether or not it was real or not, I felt it and it gave me extreme levels of anxiety. And until I got into an adult and learned, oh, wait, well, there's a lot of factors going on. Taking care of my mental health, taking care of my body, taking care of breathing. Like, there are multiple schools of somatic work. There's multiple schools of like therapies. It doesn't really matter what you call them, is that different things require different tools. So if you're depressed, I'd say move your body. If you're anxious, sometimes shaking it out or moving erratically or dancing or like walking fast will help. And sometimes it might exacerbate it. Depends on the type of anxiety. And you don't know until you know your own body, you know your own self. Sometimes it's just taking an action that you feel like is moving you in a direction that you want. It could be small. I think I've said this in another video, where taking actions towards what you want by calling a rep, if that makes you feel better, it's not going to solve the world problem immediately. Obviously, it's a collective mind shift that we all have to have in terms of creating a world that is peaceful and safe for all human beings on the planet. But on a smaller level, you can create that in your own world by taking care of your own self. Write a list every day of what you can do for your own health. Sometimes when I have sometimes it's just a brain dump. Get all the things that you're worried or anxious about or not sure about and get it out of your mind. If you have constant ruminating thoughts or intrusive thoughts are thought of in different ways, but ruminating thoughts is like that tape. Like God bless, I met a potential client yesterday, and she had a loop playing about a situationship she's in, and the person did not talk to her like for a couple of days. So her loop, and she's been involved with this person for a few months, so this is a pattern, but also like the loop of her needing the validation from the other person to know that they're okay, that she's okay. That rumination, that person hijacked that person's brain, her brain, probably not intentionally, but that's how her brain is working. So in order to combat that, there has to be a level of awareness that whatever you're doing during the day that makes you anxious, and it's probably what we're doing right now, watching these things unravel. If you're intentionally, accidentally almost, you're not even doing it on purpose. Most people do not want to feel like they don't have control over their mind. Like, nobody wants that. So there's my pen. How do you get out of that ruminating is that you have to stop the behavior first. Sometimes it's a behavior thing. It's like put down the phone or mitigate the access to things that are not serving you, or distract yourself from something, like do some other activity, or change the thoughts. It's like not everything that's going on right now is going to be inevitable. We collectively have a power to change. I am going to find the great apartment. It is inevitable. I've always been able to do this. It will happen again. Trust the process. Like things like that. You have to continuously buy into the thing that you want, and to get unstuck, to get unraveled, it takes effort. Of course it takes effort, but is it more effort to feel like the world is ending than it is to start saying, I have power? Like, yeah, it takes effort, but I'd rather feel that way. Even if I'm wrong, I'll feel better. Like, can we all just get on board with the idea that we have a collective power in our own lives first, because that's where it starts, and then other people will do the same because you're doing it, and they'll feel like, oh, I can take a breather and hang out with my friends and still do the good work of whatever you're called to do.